and good morning to all of you. It's indeed my immense pleasure to join the university family, the Graphic Era University family, in welcoming its 24th batch of entrepreneurs and leaders. And I really thank and acknowledge the presence of Professor Nripender Singh ji, a distinguished academician and a leader, Dr. Saraf, Shri Sharma ji, Professor Rawat, Professor Bora, other faculty members and members of the Graphic Era family, the students who are commencing one of the most important parts of their journey of life, and their parents. This gathering sometimes does remind me of my own beginning of a similar journey almost 39 years back in IIT Roorkee. It was a different time, but there are certain always timeless values. When I came from a small town in Uttarakhand from away from my family to a larger family of my alma mater, IIT Roorkee. It helped me forge lifelong relationships, shaped my life, my values, and so on and so forth. I often address student audiences which are like getting out of, passing out of colleges. And recently, a while back, I addressed a similar commencement batch at Sikkim, Medhavi Skills University, and now here. You are at the cusp of something very, very important in your life, spending your 2 to 3 years in an institution which has been shaped by tremendous, I would say, entrepreneurial energy, values, dedication, and a commitment, the Graphic Era University. As Dr. Nripender Singh ji said, that you have come here and think yourselves as a CEO a while down the line, and so on and so forth. You prepared entrepreneurial leaders. So certain words I was really noticing, which were said are as part of the ethos of Graphic Era. Entrepreneurial leaders, CEOs, and somewhere I saw discover, connect, and excel. Now, all of these are very important words. When we enter a university, we must not look at this is like routine statement given there. Discover, connect, excel. These are very, very crucial words, and I'm sure that when Ghanshala ji would have found or would establish this institution, because I have been founder of many institutions, companies, businesses, we spend a lot of time thinking over this. We just don't write there. A thought goes into it. What word should be written? So these words, discover, connect, and excel, they really represent something which is very true today. And as I will come to that, and as Dr. Nripender Singh ji said, become CEOs, think of yourselves as CEOs. We must have very, very clear conception of what the CEO is in modern era. It is not just about somebody who barks orders or he expects people to do what he says. But it's a leadership, and leadership is great responsibility. It means that, and especially more in modern era, because you have to connect to a wider constituency, stakeholders, you have to connect to multiple people, you have to be humble, you have to be very good in your subject area, you have to have, so that you can command respect. You have to be connecting to people, and so on and so forth. So these things are very timeless values. And they'll be more and more important today. The introducer said something about my background, and I straddle multiple worlds. Born in a small Uttarakhand town, Devidhura Lohaghat area, then Nainital, then Roorkee, globally worked across countries, largest corporations of India, have held professionally digital transformation at the group level for one of the largest Indian groups, the $80 billion Aditya Birla Group, and so on and so forth, and associated with Tata's, Reliance, Adani's, and everyone else. And I straddled that corporate world till today. And then the public policy world, and Uttarakhand, where I had the opportunity to run the planning commission for 2 years. And now deeply connected to its villages. I spend considerable time in our villages. So I straddle this a wide spectrum even today. As Mr. Suraj, Dr. Suraj who brought me here yesterday, was asking, that what difference does it make, and how do you find the public policy from corporate world different? And I can tell you that this has been such an enriching exercise, such an enriching phase. Because when you are in corporate world, there is a certain amount of ethos which is there, and being at the very top of it, you are making sense of what's happening. Your stakeholders are limited in one way. And when you're in public policy, you have enormous amount of stakeholders. And you see society in a larger way. So I would, in your journey, also exhort you to not just think of business, economics, and so on and so forth, but also see society in a wider perspective. It will not just be something altruistic or something to just think of to feel good about it, but I can tell you it will help a lot in your career. Because you will, when you see society in a larger sense, you understand what are the forces of change far better than what you are just looking at a limited subject. And this wider perspective has helped me enrich enormously, even in my public policy space. When I was requested to grow Setu Ayog, which is the State Planning Commission, in 2 years, Niti Ayog considered that as a model state transformation institution. I was addressed as a public policy leader. While it's been just, I would say, 2 years into it, at this age, you can say when some people think that now retirement is there and so on and so forth. And I was thinking, how can I become a public policy leader in 2 years? And referred in the National Economic Survey and so on and so forth. I was there with the Vice Chairman of Niti Ayog a few days back, Dr. Ashok Lahiri. And he requested me that could I work on something, what a model state transformation institution should be, what kind of planning structures public policy and state should have. It was something enormous faith. So what helped me? Because there are timeless values, curiosity, connect to people, and ability to reinvent yourselves. Today's careers are not just that you will enter an area, a job area, and then you will there for life and so on and so forth. You will go through multiple reinventions in your life. When I look at you today in Dehradun addressing, you have addressed audiences in Southeast Asia, East, Northeast, UK, US, everywhere, a lot of places. And I could never imagine, because I became the vice chair of the Planning Commission. A year back, I was in Atlanta looking at the North American operations of alumina, because Aditya Birla Group has a huge presence in North America. Novalis is one of our aluminum producing companies. And we're looking at how digital transformation can help address some of the challenges, production, sales, marketing, across our plants across the world, North America, China, and so on and so forth. So I was doing that. And then on, I was looking at Uttarakhand, the infant mortality rate, the maternal mortality rate, the productivity. So you will go through various challenges in life. And so you have to be able to reinvent yourselves. And some of these values you will have to imbibe in while you are staying in Graphic Era. Because you have an enormous opportunity, I must tell you, next 2 or 3 years you are here to shape your thoughts, your values. You will learn few technical things, must be very good in your subject. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. And Dr. Nrpin Singh said that Graphic Era provides you enormous opportunities and facilities and infrastructure and so on. But what will be very, very important for you is to shape your outlook, your mindset, your values, something for which you stand for. How can you change yourselves? In an era there was a book called Build to Last long back. Well, Build to Last doesn't work today because things will not last. World will change. You have to be built to change across in your career. Today's world is characterized by enormous change. And I can tell you that because I straddle that change from one of my last professional roles, I was looking at building AI strategy at the group level for one of the largest groups. So you can understand generative AI and so on and so forth. And I'm a computer science person. AI I did 35 years back, was my 4th year project. It's in my blood. And society and so on and so forth. So you are going through enormous change. And 3 forces are shaping this change today in the world. It's technology, social changes, and the third element which has grown up enormously is geopolitics. So these 3 are shaping our world in a tremendous and a very profound way. And one of the biggest skills for a leader is to make sense out of chaos, as they say. How do you make sense to go forward when everything around you is changing? Even in the job market, you will go. There are approximately 300 million people in India in the age group 15 to 29, plus minus 5-10%, leave it. And 150 million people are going into the workforce. Out of that, because 15 years are not going to work. So 150. 10% are going to have formal employment today. And its situation is not going to change enormously in the next few years. 10 to 15%. 10 to 15% will not get jobs easily. The rest one are in what you call as have to either create employment or to be part of changing employments and so on and so forth. So this is the kind of world you're going to enter. One of the most transformational periods, as they say, technology. I mean, it's needless to say how much AI is shaping the world. It's no longer about whether it will make an impact. It's about how fast you can do, how much can you know, and so on and so forth. Yesterday the news was that the AI agents are becoming rogue, or the models themselves are now making their own plans and entering some others' networks. So it's enormous change. And as some of the new models come, I can tell you it's going to be no less than magic on what they can do. And it's going to reshape like anything. As they say, the entry-level jobs are going away. And it's a big risk also, the entry-level, because a lot of this work which people do in the beginning of their career is going to be done through AI. So this is one skill you must master. You have to shape the change. You have to be part of that. You cannot be just be somebody who is going to get overwhelmed by it. And I'm sure there are ample opportunities out here. New industries are coming up completely. Electronics, construction, data centers, space tech, EV. I mean, yesterday itself I was reading, the EVs are itself going to create 300 million jobs in the next 10 years. And India is at a cusp of enormous opportunities, I must tell you that, both from the side of industries, new economy, urbanization. We're going to have 700 million people living in cities in the next 15 years. Data center, multiple industries. So there's a lot of new industrial investment going to come into it. At the same time, the nature of employment is going to change. And if you have to not just enter the job, I'm sure you want to grow and lead, you have to develop some very, very clear personal strengths and values. Some of the government schemes have been so successful, whether PLI or, I keep on hearing, there's so much of budget into multiple areas. So this is an area of, I will say, transformational opportunities, especially shaped by AI. The second one is, of course, is geopolitics, as I said. The supply chains are changing. Earlier, people used to say, because I often correspond with some of the leading chief executives of the country. It's no longer about, as they say in management speak, just in time. That how to make inventory management more efficient, that you don't order more, you don't order ahead of time, your supply chain is not like full of inefficiency. Today it is just in case. We are characterized by a world which has more wars. When Second World War was there, people felt that now we had enough world wars. Now it'll be peace for long. Of course, there's been no big war for the last almost 80 years. But the number of wars being fought in the world today at different places are more than in any moment of time in the last 100 years. Geopolitics is shaping where one of the most powerful men in the world, in the evening he says that we're going to attack, and next day he says, no, we're going to do discussion and dialogue, and so you know what I'm referring to. So from just in time to we are talking of just in case, because suddenly there's an opportunity and then the whole supply chain changes. The customers' requirements change. You have to look at continuously new markets. I was talking to one of the CEOs of one of the largest consumer product companies. He says that people are now looking at, for example, weight loss drugs. It's going to be a big market. And at the same time, he is making products through which the side effects can be addressed. So you have to be very imaginative in this sense. So the entire geopolitical change, the technological change is making enormous impact today. Now in this particular world, what can you do? You have to, as Dr. Singh also said, two things very much characterize. One is timeless values and the changing nature of what is needed to succeed today. Timeless values of faith in yourselves. I'm a student of Vedanta. And as you saw in one of my speeches also, when I was at Narsimhanji, I was addressing students in the power of Gita and Vedanta. Vedanta, there's a statement called Aham Brahmasmi, which says, I am the divine flame. It means you all have divine inside you. You have to discover that. You all have God inside you. On one way, it looks like a very normal statement, but I can tell you it's an enormously empowering statement. The moment you feel that you have an element of God inside you, it elevates you to a different level. You are not just a flesh and blood piece moving around. You have the capability to shape the destiny of yourselves and your surroundings. And I'm not talking this theory. After 35 years of corporate career, being president, CEO, and so on and so forth, and public policy at the highest level, so it's not just about I believe in what I say and I say in what I believe. That's modern leadership is all about. And that's what, as they say, youth are agitating nowadays. And that's what youth are also looking at. They're looking at authenticity. So therefore, the Aham Brahmasmi, you have that ability to do. So have a tremendous belief in yourselves. This is extremely important. The second is the modern values, the spirit of collaboration. And these things you have to really shape yourselves. You must look at expertise and so on and so forth. But what will take you ahead in life, I can tell you, you can get a job by expertise, maybe if you learn a certain area very well. But if you have to grow in life, if you have to grow in organizations or as an individual, you have to develop spirit of collaboration immensely. Interdisciplinary thinking. Not just read about business and economics, but read about sociology, psychology. When we set up an AI Center of Excellence, actually, we hired most of the people who had psychology background, because a lot of technical work can be done by machines. But what it cannot do is empathy. What it cannot do is understanding people. And finally, it's people who make society, nation, and the country. It's not machines only. So you need people who understand psychology, people who can connect. And that's what the motto out here is. I was just reading yesterday in Bombay, one of the largest redevelopments taking place. There were two contenders for it. A young company run by a brash chief executive and a little elderly, experienced person. When there was a pitching to people, that young person became slightly impatient. And he was just telling numbers, though he had a better package to offer. The older person, he met everyone, took their hands, connected to them, inquired about them, and so on and so forth. People skills. Needless to say, that man won the vote. Not the one who had a bigger offer, but was impatient, not connecting. So collaboration is extremely important. You must know, don't believe in just, I'm going to win. If you make people successful, but of course, it doesn't mean that you become a doormat and keep on making people successful. You have to attack there also. But collaboration is extremely important. Interdisciplinary thinking. You must learn about psychology and sociology, I can tell you that. Learn about people. Your people skills will make you lead the world, not just technical skills. Problem solving. How to solve a problem. How to look forward. How to not get stuck in the past. Every moment is gone. Dr. Napen Singh said such a wonderful speech. Can we get that moment back? No, not at all. Time has flown. As the Chinese say, the river is never run at the same time, because water has passed through the pebbles, and so on and so forth. So I think out-of-box thinking, growth mindset. This is extremely important. Growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Fixed mindset is, I have this ability, I am come from this background, I am like that, I can only do this. मैं तो यही कर सकता हूँ. मैं ये कर. But growth mindset is different. It believes that world is changing. I am not the same man which was 6 months back. My experiences, my perspectives, and my learnings are very different today. A growth mindset looks at that I am evolving, world is evolving, new opportunities are coming in. 6 months, world will be different. I have to develop new abilities. If I develop new abilities, I will have new perspectives. And as young people, this is extremely important for you. So I think these are some of the values. The second is the culture of excellence. The old Indian thinking, as we say, of jugaad is over now. If you have to really succeed in the world, you have to go for excellence. Be the top in your area. You know, my son was doing an MBA and he left it midway. He said, I want to do films. I said, you can, you know, as a parent, you'll always think you do MBA and AI and then you do these things. No, he said, no, I don't want to do that. That person did engineering for 4 years and again he's doing films. So why should I waste my time? I said, okay. I only told him, whatever you do is fine. But, you know, I was with the chief executive of a company last week, big company. I told him that, you know, I just was narrating the same thing, that it's not 100% today. 100% will not take you much. You have to do 200%. Not that in terms of hard work and in terms of your faith, your belief, your interest, your presence, your mindfulness. You have to be fully into it. The CEO said, sir, 200% is less. I do 500%. So that's the world today. So that's what I told. So I think you have to really put that. Don't think jugaad. Jugaad doesn't work any longer. If you have to really grow as a leader, as Dr. Singh said, or this university's motto is, go for excellence. Not just, and be very good in areas. Very good means very good. Young people, you are at enormous advantage today. You have next 2-3 years. You don't have to think of many things and troubles and so on and so forth. Build yourselves in this period. And the same thing is moving for public policy and other areas. So I think these, as I said, major transformational change, making sense out of chaos, and so on and so forth. That's one important part. The second is the geopolitical changes, the kind of impact they're making, and for you especially, timeless values, 21st century skills, as they say, and the excellence, culture of excellence. And I can, as I'm sharing with my own practical experiences, these things are extremely important. And the opportunities going forward, as the speakers also said, is not just in the area of industry. Industry is enormous. There's so many industries going to come, I can tell you that, in the next few years. It's no longer about traditional ones. It's also about social sector. Because I have a very strong belief that even in Uttarakhand, we often say, where are the jobs in the hills? Where are the jobs in the cities? And so on and so forth. Our biggest sectors could be agriculture, health, education, food processing. Food processing is actually one of the most employment-intensive sectors. The amount of capital you put and the jobs generate is very high in food processing. And these are the opportunities our state also has, and the economy also has. If you see the recent, a lot of talk about, jobs not being there and so on and so forth. Because we have done very good work in the last few years in building new industries, new economic models. But where we have yet to address effectively are areas which affect the people life in a large numbers. Because I can see that, because as I said that I've not that experience of in the corporate world, but I see also in the society, the health sector, the education sector, the agriculture sector, the waste management, the urbanization. Now these are what do people need? They need good health, good education system, health, as I said, employment, clean air, and clean cities. These are big sectors going to emerge. And some of the recent incidents have really been a wake-up call in that sense, that we can't just look at the economic model from the lines of big industries, new economic sectors, but also from social sectors, which touch the lives of people. To have an empathy for that, understanding of that. I look at them as huge opportunities. Yeah. So, We can continue on many, many subjects, but I'm so glad I'm here addressing you all and possibly learning from also some of the speeches which were made. As I was requested also earlier, that there will be certain amount of for speaking and some question and answers also. So I'll be very happy to respond to any questions which you might have. Are there any questions anyone has? You must ask questions. As they say, it requires courage. And courage is one of the biggest skills of this century. How can you have a courage? It's not so relevant here, but when you are in your classrooms, you must. As they say that somebody who doesn't know who asks questions is ignorant for some, who asks questions is ignorant for some time, who doesn't ask is ignorant for all the time. So anyway, I don't think there are too many questions. So thank you so much. I think it was an enormous opportunity to address you. And I wish you all the best. Wish you good luck. And I'm certain that once you graduate out of this institution, you will be not just looking for jobs, but you will be worthy citizens of a nation which is on march, a nation which has grown enormously respected, enormous achievements, and many challenges, of course, at the same time. Namaskar. Thank you. Jai Uttarakhand, Jai Bharat.